Hey, what's up everybody? Mike here, welcome back. Today I'm talking about my first week fooling around with the Insta360 One R and some of the things I've picked up along the way. I haven't really done anything very serious yet, but perhaps some of the things I've learned will help you as you're getting started with your 360-degree camera. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button or give me the thumbs up if you like this video. Let's get into it. Starting with the tripod, it's great on its own if you got the camera mounted right here. The legs are not bad at all. But if you put the selfie stick on there, it gets a little bit uneven, a little bit wobbly. It's quite top heavy on here, especially if you've got the selfie stick extended a ways up. This could probably use either wider feet or more weight on the bottom, perhaps a little bit of both. But honestly, I'm not 100% sure it's designed to have the selfie stick straight up for any length of time. I was concerned about scratching my lenses on the front of this, so I got these extra lens covers. Now there's no way I'm going to scratch these. If I do scratch the originals, I'd have to replace that whole module, probably a couple $100. Not into it. I think these are about 40 bucks. There is a little extra frame on here, so it does change the way the app stitches everything together. So far the tests I've done, it seems pretty good. Plus the original lens cover doesn't fit. These are quite a bit bigger. So I found myself a little soft cloth bag, and I keep everything in there when it's in a backpack and stuff, so these things don't get scratched up. For vlogging, the microphone on the front here, it seems to work pretty good. It does pick up a bit of wind noise, but every camera will. So far it's been pretty good. I did find the best way to do it was to only extend the selfie stick 2 portions, and then hold it up at a bit of an angle at basically head height, so it would be in front of me, kind of like this, at roughly arm's length. It's quite comfortable. The arm is down in a good spot. Seems to be working pretty good so far. You'll be able to see some of my vlogging in my channel already. The SD card can be very difficult to remove once this protective case is on everything. I mean, check this out. That little door pops open, that little thing's flopping, and you got to get that out of there. If you have big sausage fingers like me, that's actually pretty tough. So be a little bit careful, don't get too crazy, but it takes a little bit of work anytime you want to pull the SD card out of this case. When it comes to the SD card and you're copying your files onto your computer, you're actually going to see 2 files with a .insv extension. Basically, that's 1 file from each lens. Actually makes a lot of sense. When you import those files into the Mac Studio app, you actually only need to import 1 of those files. It will automatically pull both in. It'll only present you as 1 file, but you'll have the whole 360-degree view to work with. There's also the option to export your videos straight from the iOS app. That results in an MP4 file, which is a much smaller file size than the 2 INSV files, but you're limited on some of the editing you can do and some of the perspective changes you can make. So it's a trade-off. I've also noticed the Mac Studio app is a little bit more limited than the iOS app in terms of the special effects and all the fancy stuff you see people doing. The clone trails, the dolly effects, the bullet times, the speed lapses, all that fancy stuff. Easy peasy in the iOS app, but the Mac app just can't do it. So if you want to do that stuff, just be prepared to do a little bit of editing and work on your phone. That being said, the app works really good. The editing is pretty smooth and easy. I haven't had any troubles with it, so just be aware of that. Some of the special effects can also be a bit tricky if you need to do very specific setup, framing, timing, things like that. The apps and the automated stuff could have some trouble if you don't do it right, or it could do it easy, but the effect won't quite have the effect that you want if you're moving at the wrong speed or things like that. Check out this Dolly Zoom effect of a disc golf basket, this bullet time spin over my head while I'm standing out on a dock, this clone trail of me walking around the camera in the middle of a field. You can see all of them work reasonably well, and considering they take no time at all, they're really, really good. Just be aware. Sometimes the filming and the setup is a bit nitpicky and tricky, but overall they seem to be working pretty good. I've been doing a lot of my editing in the Mac Studio app. I just find that better. Bigger screen, bigger controls. I just prefer that. Trimming the front and end of your videos is very simple, but it might be a touch confusing. On screen, you're going to see the square brackets, and that will set your start point and your end point. So when you hit play, it's just going to play between those things and you're not going to see the ends. Pretty straightforward. Now, if you press the square brackets on your keyboard, what that will do is take you to your start point or your end point. That's super handy for setting up keyframes. You want to set up that initial keyframe with all your angles and your pans and all that set up. Trying to drag that around on the timeline, it can be tricky and it's tough to get in the right spot. But if you press the square bracket on your keyboard, it goes straight to the spot you set up using the icon, setting a keyframe. There's a nice little icon on screen, or Command K. I prefer Command K, it's just quicker and easier. You can also copy and paste those keyframes. Command C, Command V, there you go, copy and paste everywhere, works really good. Now, if you want to have 15 seconds where the camera doesn't move or pan or do anything, just set up one keyframe, copy it, move it 15 seconds forward, paste it again. Now you're going to stay locked on that view. If you do want the camera to pan, paste in that second keyframe and adjust it. Tweak it to the side and up and whatever. And when you're done, now that time between your first keyframe and your second keyframe, that essentially becomes your camera pan. So if you want a nice long slow pan across a lake, that's all you do is set up 20 seconds apart, make your adjustments, take that full 20 seconds to make that pan. If you want that same pan to happen in, say, 4 seconds, just pull those keyframes really close together. The pan will go quick. It works really good. Everything stays nice and smooth. There's also some perspective icons hiding within the settings of the keyframe. It took me a while to find these ones. I thought I was going crazy and couldn't find them. But once you put in a keyframe, down in the bottom left corner, you'll see some little perspective icons. The fisheye, the natural, the mini world. You'll see all those tucked in there. But if you're not working on a keyframe and you spend time looking for them, like I did, you won't find them. You can also use the time setting within the keyframe settings to help get you in exactly the right spot. I find when I'm kind of clicking and dragging and doing things like that, it's tough to get the keyframes where I wanted to, so I could get them really close and use the time setting to kind of push them forward and back where I wanted to for some nice fine adjustments. Both the Mac and the iOS apps can do that tracking feature where you tell it to focus on you or your subject, and as you're moving around, it's going to pan the camera and move around and follow you and do all that really cool stuff without any editing on your part. Super cool, looks really good. However, with a vlogging style thing, which I've done mostly so far, the camera and the perspective looks a little bit bouncy because if it sees me moving around, it's tracking me and bouncing around a little bit. I found the keyframes are actually better because I can just lock the view, and if I'm moving around, everything stays nice and solid. So for an action shot or lots of movement where you'd have lots of keyframes, probably the tracking feature would be better. But it's a fairly stationary vlog style thing. I found the keyframes just work better and they're super easy to do. That's it for today. I'm sure I'm going to find a whole bunch more things that I'll want to share in the future. Leave a comment down below if you've had any tricks and tips that you found at the beginning of your 360 experience that would help me. I'm looking for those things all the time. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me the thumbs up or hit the subscribe button for more great content, and I will see you in the next video.